So there are two ways that we know this book was not very good. And the first way is that this is day three to read a 300-page romance. Is this book 300 pages? I don't even know. Let's open up Goodreads here and find out together what Goodreads says. The audiobook was not necessarily particularly long, so I can't imagine that it's more than 350 pages. Um, that seems to be the going rate these days, which is something I used to prefer. But when a book is bad like this, well, you know what? Give me the 200-page romance because that's all there was for this. That's all the material they had. The first half of the book, the tour, this little week-long tour is over by the 50% mark. And from the 50% mark till the third act, we can't be together actually. Um, it's not that they're just fucking, but it feels very tonally different from the first half of the book where it's all, you're the brand ambassador to my company who is floundering. Again, we're like, the company is down in the depths. We need 5 days of sales to save what company? Again, I don't know. I'm not a business owner. But what major national corporation where they got partnerships in a major, like a Sephora Ulta type business, is like this new product launch? The 5 day tour with this award winning musician. We need the sales from these 5 days to save the company for the entire year. The entire fiscal year is riding on 5 days of sales at the product launch. And again, like, I understand this is a silly little, not silly little romance, but like, this is maybe this is where me and the romance girlies, we have to tussle. We have to tussle because in my heart of hearts, I really truly understand that the point of the romance is the romance between these two characters, right? But as a women's fiction, general fiction girly, if you start teasing a B plot, if you start teasing information, this book is 400 pages apparently, according to Goodreads. If you start teasing out information, you start teasing out the, oh, here's a B plot, we got all this other shit going on. There's more to the story than just, Iris and Angel falling in love with one another. Then the shit that you're adding to the story, that's adding stake. And again, like this tour, the company, all that is to add stakes to this romance. Because otherwise, you have a story about this woman whose husband has been dead for, I think, 2 years, maybe as many as 5 years. I think they were together. They were only married for 2 years. He's been dead for 5 years. So he's been dead longer than they were married. You have this widow who is out here living her life, raising her daughter, working at this company, who recently had a setback. And you have this man who's trying to put out an album. Again, this is such a first world fucking problem. Imagine being like, I'm going to put out an album, but my record label don't want to put this out. The girlies can't recognize, like they can't connect with that. But they can connect with this, oh, maybe, I'm working with somebody and I should not be with them because I'm working with them. But you know what? The chemistry is undeniable. But the chemistry in this book is not undeniable. This is the other problem. That it's not. This isn't a problem. Like, this is a sort of a genre convention, and sometimes it really, I think, be biting them in the ass. This is another story, much like Iris's sad sack of a sister Lily. Also, I'm sorry, but the fact that Iris's daughter is named Kala, I think, has bothered me the entire time. But now that we are in her book and we have to see her interact with her daughter that she named fucking Kala, is silly. I don't know how many flower names are out there, but if I'm from the fucking family of gardeners and flower shop owners, I refuse to believe that Iris's favorite flower just happens to be a lily, and we have to name her Kala after Kala lilies, because who is around here running around calling Kala lilies Kalas? Maybe in true blue flower circles, maybe they are, but it's like, woman, that's an ugly ass name that you have saddled this daughter with. And it's even sillier when you already got a sister named fucking Lily. Like, you already got a sister named Lily, and now her niece is named fucking Kala. Like, be so for real. Anyway, I digress. But you have to, all this shit is happening because it's silly. It's silly. And again, the chemistry for me was not there. Oh, I was saying she was a sad sack of a character. She has no friends. She has her assistant, Bree. And Bree hooks up with Angel's security guard. And his security guard is his only friend. He has a sister that doesn't really factor into the storyline at all. His family is there to give him some kind of like personal storyline about how his family doesn't approve of him, but they'll take his money. They'll take his money though. They'll allow him to upgrade the family home back in bumfuck Georgia where he was born and raised. Um, but it's just like I don't care about any of those things. Like they're not really in the story for me to care about them. Um, her husband is dead. He doesn't have any serious relationships in his past that are hanging him up. And the only people in the storyline in the entire book are these two people. And I think that sometimes you read a really good, like a really good book, a really good romance, you kind of can just forget that like maybe that the only people in this book are Iris and Angel or the love interest. And they're like those two people who are going to be destined to fall in love. But sometimes you're reading a book, particularly like this one that has external stakes. The internal stakes aren't really there because even though she's not really sure at the very beginning of the book, like in the prologue, she runs away. It's like, yeah, I can't date right now. That quickly goes away. Like that really is not the barrier that she thought that it was. Because then we see her in the meat of the story before they even go on tour. We see her on dating apps. We see her in the first stop of the tour. I guess it was actually the second stop of the tour in Seattle, where she's like swiping on Tinder or the Tinder knockoff for the book before she decides actually, maybe I should not be swiping on fucking Tinder in Seattle when I live in bumfuck New Jersey. And so she goes on down to the hotel bar and that's where she runs into Angel. Like I think again, when you're telling like a really good story and you're really invested in the storyline, the fact that these people don't really have a lot external support, there is no support system for them outside of the confines of the narrative, isn't as important. Let's take Spiral for an example. Spiral, I wouldn't say there's a giant cast of characters. This is also a book in a series of connected standalones where the first book is tied into the second book because the couple from the first book, I think he's like best friends with the love interest. In this one, like those are the homies. And so we see that he has an entire friend group, he has an entire friend group in his corner. In the love interest in that book, she does not have a friend group. She is kind of a loner. She's taking care of her little brother. She has her uncle, and her uncle are they're close, but there is a sort of a there's like he looks out for her and she is reluctant to accept his help, but she's working on that, right? It's like they have a relationship, but that's like really her only sort of support system before she meets her love interest and she kind of falls into his group of people. But still, I was able to read the entire book and be like, you know what, this is a really fun time. In this book, I'm like, I really don't care about these people. We're also kind of starting from behind because we'd already seen these people interact in the neighbor favor. We were kind of already rooting for these people to be together from the neighbor favor, that one little moment there. And so in this book, he is already, Angel's already down bad. Iris is already down bad. There really isn't any, again, because the hurdle of her dead husband is not really a hurdle. Like this man is out here writing love songs about her from the very beginning of the book, about her being the one that got away. And it's like, you have not really had a meaningful conversation with this woman. And to be honest with you, over the course of the book, I really don't feel like they have any kind of meaningful conversations. He lets her in. He talks about how his parents gave him some religious trauma because they were disappointed that he decided to eschew gospel singing to sing about, making love to women. Also, to be honest with you, I think it's crazy that on the cover of this book, he has like a close shaved head. And then I'm pretty sure at several points in the narrative, they talk about him having dyed hair. Why he looked like that on the cover of the book if he running around the streets? Maybe not in the context of the narrative we got going on right now, but we know him to be a person that dyes his hair. Like why is he, straight laced up, buttoned up, black t-shirt, black pants on the cover of the book, but in the story, Violet got this man wearing kilts, dyeing his hair. Like the what are we doing? Like I really truly just don't think that what is being presented and what was in the book was really all that compelling a narrative for me or anybody else, to be honest with you. Is this the world's worst romance? No, I don't. I don't think it's the world's worst romance, but I do think that it was executed to the best of. For this to be a book written by somebody who has several publications already under their belt, I think it's kind of crazy. Now, when one of those publications is Isla and Kai, which is probably one of the worst YA books ever put to paper, like it does start to make sense. And again, but even in terms of like connected romance series, I don't think this would be. I find a really hard time believing that this is on the same level as other sisters, other, friend groups. Like, this is just not really a trio that I think is particularly memorable um for anybody. I think that they're fine. I think that if you're looking to get into romance, I guess this is a decent place to start because you do get couples, you do get a little bit of a side plot happening in all of the storylines. All of the sisters got a little bit something going on outside of their love interest that eventually does kind of tie back in to the love interest and things. So like there's some moving plates. It's a little bit of stuff going on there, but I don't think it's anything going on that you absolutely got to read. Like, you are missing out on life if you do not. If you have never read the Green Sisters, I really don't think you need to rush out and read them in the new year. So I'm happy this door is closed. I think that for the next couple of days, we're gonna detox a little bit from the audiobooks. I'm gonna pick up my Kindle. I've not done a lot of Kindle reading. As I told you guys, I got a couple of I actually have a whole little series of male romance that I need to read now. Because I said I got the open air already. I bought See You at the Finish Line, and recently I got approved for 30 Love, which I think I mentioned that in the video and then I cut it. So I got like 3 male sports romances on here, 2 tennis, 1 I think it's a rowing. Who doesn't love a good rowing romance? And then I think that's all I can read. Probably is all I'm gonna be able to get to. Tomorrow's Monday, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday I do have to work. Thankfully I don't have to work at the hotel at all this week. And then I have Wednesday and Thursday off, so Christmas Eve and Christmas off. And then Thursday, I guess, is actually the last video because Friday's the 26th, and that's when I start filming for the patrons. So Thursday was the last day that we all gather around and talk. I think I also cut this in yesterday's video, but my plan I am gonna do one of the little, I'm doing some Kindle reading. I love to just sit in my car at the parking garage before I have to go in to work in the morning. I've been eating my little breakfast burritos that I've been prepping. And I'll listen to an audiobook and I'll just read on my Kindle. So I'll do a lot, and I'm a fast reader, allegedly, according to the streets. I think I'm a slow reader, but the streets be saying I'm quick. So I think I will be able to finish a couple of those little romances before the end of the, our time together here for Montimus. But what else was I gonna say? So we got those sports romances, wrapping up on Christmas. That'll be the last video. And yeah, I think that's everything for now, besties. So thanks for being here with me. I will look forward to seeing you guys again here tomorrow. But until then, and until next time.